On today's episode of Homeworthy, we're taking you to the Louisiana Delta for a look inside textile designer Rebecca Vizard's stunning home. Nestled within a bed of oak trees her grandfather planted in the 1950s, Rebecca's home is a wonderful celebration of artistry, community, and most importantly, family. Her vast collection of rich textiles, artwork, and tokens from her travels are graciously layered in each room. Rebecca's imagination continues outdoors, where you'll find a former trailer base turned into a chic wagon where they watch movies and eat popcorn. And not to miss, a flourishing garden overflowing with the most beautiful zinnias. Enjoy! But first, a big thank you to AG1 for sponsoring today's Homeworthy episode. Truth be told, when it comes to diet, I need a little boost in the nutrition department, and that's why I like taking AG1 every morning. All you have to do is fill this nifty little bottle they send you with 8 to 12 ounces of cold water. Then, get your little scoop. 1 scoop of it. Top on. We're gonna go like this. Bon appetit. It's made up of 75 high-quality whole food sourced ingredients, carefully curated to nourish your body's systems holistically. It's delicious. So head to my link in the description box below to get a free 1-year supply of AG vitamin D3 plus K2 plus 5 AG1 travel packs with your first purchase of AG1. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Like and subscribe for more.
Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Rebecca. Welcome to our home in the Louisiana Delta on Lake Bruin. Come on in. Hi, I'm Rebecca Vizard, and this is my sweet rescue beagle, Lulu. And we live in the Delta, in the middle of nowhere, between Natchez, Mississippi and Vicksburg, on the other side of the Mississippi River. So we are in the Louisiana Delta on Lake Bruin, near a town called St. Joseph. And I actually grew up here, and I tried to escape. I thought I wanted to live in the big city, but accidentally I ended up back here, and it's been a good thing. When we first moved back here, I stayed quite frustrated all the time because I remember going to the grocery store and they didn't have limes, and I just had a meltdown one day and just said, "It looks like a lemon, but it's green. Can you please get them?" Because I was drinking gin and tonics at the time, and you can't have that without a lime. So anyway, what I can say is, since Amazon Prime has come around, I love living here because I don't have to worry about running out of printer ink, or I can get whatever I need in in 2 days. It's incredible. And honestly, living here and not being able to get everything you want has made us a lot more resourceful. We now grow the vegetables that we can't get at the grocery store, and we love doing that. And then we figured out it's even better than whole food to grow your own. So living here, we have adapted and we've learned a lot, and I think it's really enhanced our lives. And I would have never believed that. I really was pouting the first 4 years we were here. But it's like I say, I love it now. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. Well, once we moved back, and I figured out that my dad was so happy having his grandchildren here. My husband was so happy hunting and fishing and playing golf. And I could tell my children were so happy here, and I could see it was going to be a good, healthy place to raise children. We decided to build this house, which was a huge statement that we're staying now. So we built this house in 1988. We moved in 89. And so when we designed the house, I worked with Michael Carbine in New Orleans and William Saunier. And it was quite an undertaking because I was 29 years old. And we said, we're trying to build our forever house on hopefully not our forever budget. And they got it, and they were great. And so we built a wonderful big shell. And every year we just added something. It's turned out after, gosh, from '89 to now, we've been here quite a while. So we've had a lot of fun projects, and the house is not quite finished, but almost there. This is the part of the house we call the breezeway. The original house is over there. We added this space and the studio because my business was starting to make our house quite a mess. So now this is where I work every day. This has been an area, I love having all my textile books close to the studio because if I have to research something, I usually can find the book. And I have learned a lot from all of these books. And yet, I guess my knowledge of textiles has come from flea markets, museums, books, and my mentor who just died at 102 in France. And she taught me a lot because she taught textiles in Florence, Italy before World War II, and then moved to Paris where I met her. But anyway, my books, I don't know what I'd do if the house caught on fire. I would be throwing books out to everybody because I've collected them from museums all over the world and elsewhere. The other thing in the breezeway I really love is how this fig ivy vine came in, and it came in through one spot kind of in the corner, and it used to green up in the spring, and then sometimes it would die down a little in the winter. But one time I was having my gardener cut back some things because the fig ivy was growing up the side of the house, and I said, cut everyone back except this one vine right here. And I pointed to it, and I put a little dab of Sharpie marker on it, and of course he cut it. And so now we have this dead vine in here, but I kind of like it. I'm having a hard time thinking about taking it down. And my husband actually is very glad it's not growing anymore because he thought it was going to take over the whole place. Now let's go to the kitchen. Y'all follow me. We'll go through the breezeway to the original part of the house, down the hallway of memories, crazy pictures of the family. Welcome to my kitchen. Really, my husband is the chef in the house, and it's kind of crazy, but our number one seller in our business is the seasoning salt, which is hysterical because it was such an accident that I put it in and somebody bought it and gave it to people all over the country. And so we finally had to put it on the website, and now we sell tons of it. But he's the chef, and he's really kind of a scientist. And he just makes up things all the time. He doesn't need recipes, and he chops the herbs, and then whatever he doesn't use in our meal, he throws in this bowl. So every batch is a little bit different. And it's really fun. When people are hanging out here on weekends, everybody tends to like turn it. And so it's I guess it's kind of cathartic to sit here and turn salt. But this table is one of the first pieces I bought for the house. And it came from a great shop in Baton Rouge called Fireside Antiques. And the cool thing about the table is it has all these different storage places. It came from a restaurant in Paris, and it even has an area that's kind of that was dug out on the end where they said they had a meat grinder. So the funny thing too was our kitchen was not complete, and I bought this just knowing it would fit. I just knew it would. And my husband, when they saw it, they said, "There's no way that's going to fit." I'm like, "Sweetheart, I promise you, it is going to fit." And we brought it in, and it fit perfectly. And actually, my husband said, "Good," because there were 4 men that came, and it took my husband and 6 men to move it. And he goes, "Good, because it's not leaving." But anyway, the other thing I really love is our sink. But what I really love is if I have a dinner party and it's too late, you can hide the dishes on this side, and this side is really a deep piece, so you can hide a lot in there. Anyway, and we have art by friends, and I love being here, looking out the window when you're washing the dishes, and sometimes we have wildlife that comes up, and occasionally we'll have a bear that gets a little close, and I can't stand when I look down the road and see a bear. It's a little frightening. I do get the dogs in. But so far they haven't gotten too close, but it's kind of like Wild Kingdom out here. Well, while we spend the most time in the kitchen, we did spend every evening in sitting around this table when the kids were growing up. And this was our nighttime routine. And it was so, I mean, I just can't believe that I was able to raise a family that ate dinner around a table every night. This is a wonderful sculpture by Bradley Sabin, who is just, it's so incredible. And this is another piece from Fireside. Actually, both of these are. And I've loved this. I've used this in so many ways. At one time it was our bar. Another time I used it in the big room for our books. It's a very versatile piece. The art, this is a Hayes Friedman that I just love. I love the mood of it. As I said, I was an art major, so I do love the art. And these are two pieces that I bought at a flea market for $25, and I loved them. And now when you find them, they're a lot more expensive. But those were early purchases for this house. The fabric is so fun. I kept thinking I had too much wood in here and it was driving me crazy, and I was either going to paint that or paint this table. And my friend Jeanette Whitson, who has Garden Variety Design, had this fabric on some of her chairs, and so I got her to order some for me, and it kind of cooled it off in here, and I think made it okay to have this much wood. So once I did that, I'm not as anxious about painting everything, but I may someday, I don't know. One of the things I love about the layout of our home is that we can use this place to eat, or we can set all our food out and open the doors and go to the porch, which is the place where we really hang out. And I would love to show you the porch and show you where we have many meals out here. The funny thing about the architectural style, when I was talking to the architects, I said I wanted a New Orleans style farmhouse, lake house, hunting lodge. And they kind of laughed and said, well, yeah, good luck with that. And as it turned out, that's really kind of what we got. And we used a lot of old elements from old buildings around the area, and it kind of feels like it's been here forever. I've ended up with quite a mix. It's sort of traditional farmhouse style, but we do have really high ceilings, which kind of is the New Orleans influence. I've gradually decorated, and I love vintage and antique things. I love things with a history and things that will tell a story, basically. And I love textiles, as you know. I would say I've gradually collected things, and the other thing is I was an art major in college, and so I really love art, and I really love contemporary art. So it's kind of a mix of antique textiles, contemporary art, a few traditional pieces of art. I don't know, I'm just whatever inspires me comes to the house, and it seems to work. I don't know why, but it does. And this is our screened-in porch that I really love. It's funny, when we first built the house, we didn't do the screens because I thought, well, it'll impede the view of the lake. Well, we probably screened this in about 10 years ago, and this is where we live now. We live either in the kitchen or out here. And most of our meals are eaten on this porch because, we have 75-degree Christmases a lot of times. And so it's more fun to have a dinner party out here than in the house for some reason. Everybody likes eating outside. My husband and I hang out here a lot in the afternoon, evenings. He will grill on a little baby green egg, and we'll have a little wine, and we just talk about the day, and this is just magical out here. This is that we're going to have some company tonight, so I went ahead and set the table the way I would for company. And what's great about this table, we got these other two tables that work as a bar at the end, but also if we have more seating we need, we can just pull the tables to the end, and we can seat 16 people out here. And it is really fun. Everybody wants to eat on the porch, and sometimes when it's even a little too cool, we'll just I have a lot of Cantha blankets inside, and we'll just wrap in those, and everyone will eat out here. And the people who haven't been here before, I always let them sit on this side, because usually at night the moon is glistening on the lake, and I love for people to see that. It's just really special. Sometimes we do candles, but sometimes there's a breeze and we can't we can't use candles. But I love these because you can turn the lights on. They recharge, and these actually were a gift from a bunch of friends who were up here, and the electricity went off at their house. So they called, and I was out of town, and I said, well, just use our house. And so they were having a dinner party out here, and they couldn't figure out how to turn the lights on the porch. And so next thing I know, I get a box of these lamps. They said everybody was eating with their iPhones over their plates. So that will not happen again. And this is one of my favorite vases because it's so easy to make an arrangement. And the nice thing is when you're sitting at a dinner table, you can see over it. I carry these in my shop, even though we're out right now, but I just love the design of that. And they've been around for years. I just think they're classics. And they don't stress you out trying to make an arrangement. Anyway. And the zinnias from the yard. You will see a lot of zinnias. The plates actually were my mother's, my parents' wedding presents. And these are spode, and it's a pattern called geisha that they don't make anymore. And when I was getting married, I told Mama, I said I can't find any plates that I like better. And she said, well, look, I never use those. Those are my fancy plates. And finally, I just decided she had something like 18. So I just decided they've become our everyday plates. And I love them. And they make me think of my parents being young and in love and getting married. One of the other best things about the screened-in porch is it's right off our living room. And when we have parties for more than 16, I mean, we've had as many as 30 or 40 here, and everybody ends up being able to sit for dinner because we open up the living room. Well, hi, Birdie. This is our living room, and I love this red color. And the funny thing about this color, I think this was about the 10th time I painted it. I couldn't get the color right in here for anything. And finally I got a red, and I really wasn't happy with it. And my dear friend Ann Conley said, B, I think this color's just too aggressive for you. And so I went, you're right, that's the problem. So I mixed up a glaze, having been an art major. And the funny thing was, I hired a high school student, and he painted on the wall, and I came along behind him and wiped it off. And it just toned down the red where it reads as red, but it's really kind of a pink. And the cool thing, I think, is that it doesn't look feminine. You know, I wanted a place that my husband was real happy in. But it's a pink, but not a pinky pink, not a girly pink. And the other thing I realized is how much I like mixing all the reds now, because it's got different shades of reds in there, so it kind of goes from an orange to a pink. And for instance, when I bought these chairs at an antique shop, I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to recover them. And I brought them in the room, and I went, you know, they kind of work. And as well as this pink piece that I got from Watkins Culver in Houston. And I thought it was going to go in the living room, and when they brought it in, I thought it looked great with the walls, and I just didn't believe it when I bought it. One of the things I'm learning the longer I'm playing with color is that, you know, reds and pinks and oranges can all kind of blend together, particularly when you have a big eclectic mix with all kinds of things in there. I love these birds. These came from a shop in Houston called Area. And I actually bought these for a client. And when I brought them home, my husband said, he can't have them, I want them. And so I went, oops, all right. So we kept them. As I've said before, I love the way our house melds with nature, and I love bringing in natural pieces. This is a great example of a stump from an old cypress tree. And I just think it's phenomenal. It's so architectural. It makes you realize that really nature is probably one of the best architects or artists there is. I love the way the colors and the gold kind of go with the wood in that. I love the way our dogs just get everywhere in the house and feel very comfortable. I also love this chandelier. I'll have to tell you more about my projects, but this one we called a cork delier. and it's made out of wine corks, and I hire at-risk kids to help me make all these chandeliers. So I'm going to show you another one in just a bit, but these projects are just dear to my heart because they are helping the needy in our area, and they have fun, and they get very excited about making their own money. I try to catch kids when they are about 16 or 17 before they sometimes get sucked into the welfare system or something, but once they get that little itch and love making their own money, they tend to get jobs and do well. My first group of 7 kids, 6 of the 7 all have done well, have gone on, and they're all working and good, productive citizens and happy. So it's just one of my favorite things that's come out of living here. The things in here that I find the most interesting, the table, the coffee table here is from Mac Maison in New Orleans. And the legs are from the old Woolworth building in New Orleans. That was part of their balcony. And the top is an old limestone piece that was used for making lithographs. That was also an early purchase for the house. The other thing, I love this particular artist, Damon Matsuo. He lives in New Orleans, and my friend Ann Conley has an art gallery in Baton Rouge, and I walked in one day and just said, Ann, I have to have that. And it was the first piece she had gotten from him. And I just loved it because I love the movement, I love the structure. And then I realized it's a man holding a baby and the woman's pregnant. And I thought, well, it could represent my family. So it's pretty special. Then I've just collected a lot of different art from different people. I have a couple of Hunt Sloanums. I love, this is actually a Picasso, and it's got a different drawing on the back. I love art. I can't seem to get enough art. And I don't mind mixing the really valuable with the kind of fun. One piece my nephew did when he was in high school. And then we've got serious artists. And this is my friend Bill Joyce, who is a famous cartoonist. He did the characters in Toy Story for Buzz Lightyear and Woody, and he's done several movies that have been pretty successful. Well, this room, originally when we built the house, we didn't have a lot of money, so this room wasn't even finished. And I mean, we just had a bare light bulb hanging there. My children learned how to ride their bikes in here, and they learned how to rollerblade in here. I mean, there was one sofa in the middle of the room with a little table, and they would just go around it like the NASCAR drivers. But anyway, the room just kind of evolved. I mean, we knew we needed a bigger space for eating, and the dining table actually came from my aunt, and it seats 16. It has a lot of leaves, but the funny thing about it was all the leaves were different colors of wood. And now I'm so sorry I painted the table because I thought it kind of looks like striped wood in the middle. But now I look back on it, I think I can just picture them. Well, they needed another link, and they just went out and cut whatever tree and made these different pieces to go in the table. And I don't know why I didn't think that was cool at the time, but now I may strip that table one day. But I do want to show you the funniest thing here, the hat box, the hat basket. This is where a lot of fun goes on, and whenever I can find vintage hats at a good price, because they get way overused, we pulled them out, and it's hysterical how everyone seems to take on a different persona when they put their hat on. And the other funny thing is Michael and I will be in the kitchen cooking, and the party started when all of a sudden someone pops around the door and they go, and we look at each other and we go, oh my gosh. And of course it happens every weekend, so we pretend like it's the first time we've ever seen that. But everybody seems to really get going with the hats. Let's go upstairs and mind this. We originally used this for the kids to keep them corralled in here, and now we use it for the dogs when they get wet, so they can't go upstairs and jump in our beds. Let's go. Welcome to the bedroom. This is obviously one of my favorite spots because I'd love to get in bed and read a good book. But we love having this porch off the bedroom and the screen, so when the weather's really nice, we leave the doors open. As a matter of fact, one morning we were lying in bed, and all of a sudden we heard this huge just, it was so loud, it felt like the house was shaking. And I was horrified. I thought maybe, there was a bomb or something was happening, a plane crashing. And my husband and I jump up and we run out. And evidently it was the beginning of a bass fishing contest. And like right at 6 a.m., every boat went, and it just, everybody's house, I think, vibrated. There were so many boats on the lake. But that was also early when we moved here. Now we sleep through it. We don't even notice it. This is really a great, our bedspread is old. We made it out of old sheets. Of course, I love putting a long pillow on a bed. This is as a matter of fact, this is the easiest thing to sell to men because men hate beds with like 10 different pillows on it. So you just have your pillows you used to lean back on and one decorative pillow. So if anybody wants one of those, that's how you convince your husband you're going to get one. Anyway, and once again, I love the Suzannes over here. This is a really amazing piece. We now are representing a man from Uzbekistan who produces the most beautiful Suzannes on real silk, not on polyesters or bamboos, and the threads are all silk. And he just does an incredible job. And I can't tell you, we must have, I don't know, at least 150 Suzannes in our stock right now. And this is one of my favorite pieces in the room because really for a bedside piece, it's got so many nooks and crannies that you can put your cuticle cream or your lip stuff and all your little nighttime things right there. And I actually found this on eBay and I was so nervous to buy it, but it came from California and I talked to the guy and he just said he was redoing his house and going all modern. And I just am tickled to have this piece. It holds a lot. The other thing I can't wait to show you are these curtains. When I was early on the Neiman's trip, when I was buying things for the Neiman's shop, I found this beautiful tablecloth, and the amazing thing was it was already cut in half, and I thought, what a shame, that big, beautiful piece. And it's got this amazing ribbon work and embroidery, and I was about to cut it up to make pillows, and then I started thinking I needed drapery in my bedroom. And so I just took a smaller piece and added it to some fun silk. And I mean, I think it just transformed the room to have this. Now, my very favorite thing in the room is my line and witch and wardrobe moment. But I saw this in France at a famous artist's atelier. When I asked to use the restroom in French, they pointed at the armoire, and I thought, how did I screw that up? Anyway, I opened their armoire, and it was the cutest little powder room. So for years, I looked for the right piece, and this has added so much to our bathroom because we have so much more storage now, and it just makes me feel magical when I walk in and out of here. I think something good's going to happen. But we have a great space in here, and another thing that is one of my favorite tricks I used to do with interior design, when you have a great view, you hate to have curtains going to the top. So I always have little shutters made like this so that you can have privacy, but you can still see the stars. So at night, if I get in my tub and read a book and the stars are out, it's just, once again, it's my happy place. So. And this is our porch, our screened porch up here. We love it, as I've said, because the breeze can go through our room and we hear all the nature sounds and the birds. I love this tree out here. It looks like a bonsai. It's been my favorite tree. For the longest time, that was one of the biggest ones, and now these are catching up, and I'm almost sad that I don't have such a good view anymore. This is an old swing it was a day bed from France, and we just converted it into a porch swing. One of the funny things about this porch is we didn't have two doors, but years ago, my son, when he was about 2, locked himself into our bedroom, and I was totally panicked because he was 2. The key came out because it was one of those old-fashioned locks. We couldn't get in. We were just completely panicked. So I climbed out that window, and we didn't have the door here, so I had to like go along the edge, like I don't know, Batman or something, and then come in the door here, and thank goodness this door was open so I could get in. And he was having a blast in the bathroom, just digging through all the cabinets underneath and pulling everything out. And I'm like, no telling what he would have gotten into if I hadn't been able to do that. But we love being able, once again, to open up our house to nature. And this helps a lot. And this is a nice contemplative place sometimes to sit and read a book. And this was my son Ross's room, which of course didn't look like this when he lived here. But we love, it was such a small room and it was perfect for him. But we, always tried to make it work with it. We didn't have much room for furniture. And we stayed in a hotel one time in France that we were laughing. My husband actually walked in, he goes, "You gotta be kidding me," because there was about 2 feet all the way around the bed. But they had these built-in pieces on the sides of the bed and places to hang your clothes inside. And it turned out that it was perfect, and we were very comfortable in there. And so we said, while we were in Paris, we said, this is what we have to do in Ross's room. So this worked out great. We love it because you can plug your cell phone in the side, and there's plenty of storage. And then I love the curtains in here because, I love so many different textiles, and particularly a lot of Eastern things. So this is a Elizabeth Hamilton textile. And of course, I love having the Fortuny in here because Fortuny is one of my favorite fabrics. It's hard to beat a good Fortuny. And then the other thing that's so fun from being up here is it feels like you're in a tree house when you look outside, because we have these giant oak trees that are right in front of the house and really surround the house. And all of our guests love it. And one problem is all of our dogs love it too. And so they love to get on every bed in here and watch out the window and look for squirrels. And so I have to keep a lock on the outside to keep all the rooms closed, and because all the doors are very old. And so when our guests come, they usually go, "Now what is that hook lock on the door for?" They think we're going to lock them in their room. But anyway, it's just to keep the dogs from, they've learned how to open doors. They're very clever. Speaking of, that couldn't have been better timing. See what I mean? And most of our guests are very dog friendly and actually bring their dogs with them when they come. But every now and then somebody doesn't want any dog hair on their bed. Okay, Lulu, you ready to leave? Are you ready to leave? Let's go show them something else. One other thing great about the porch is we have all the doggy doors. So the dogs go in and out all day long. And I don't know if you can hear the birds, but they're magical right now. I want to show you the playhouse. This is the building I was talking about that we moved here after Katrina. We nestled it here in these big live oaks. And at night we have lights, so they shine up in the oaks, and it gives us a nice, area that we can see at night, even though there are no lights out here. My husband loves to cook out here. But as you can tell, this building was built in the 1940s. Welcome to the playhouse. And it was called the playhouse because when the soldiers in World War II built it, this was where they played poker, and this was all they did was play in here. And so we still call it the playhouse. And it is funny, sometimes people come and I go, "Okay, y'all are staying in the playhouse." And they're like, "Well, that sounds fun." They don't know what it is. First thing I wanted to show you is the Bierdelier. When we moved this building here, I knew it needed a light fixture over the table, but I just didn't want anything too serious. I don't know, I felt like, I just couldn't find anything. And once again, I just hung a bulb there until I figured it out. And then one day it dawned on me, I started thinking, wouldn't it be fun to do something with bottle caps? Like, I started thinking about a transition from a room like in the 60s and 70s when they had the beads hanging. And then I started thinking, wouldn't that be fun to do it with bottle caps? And then I thought, what if we would do the chandelier with bottle caps? And bingo. So this is the first one, and I hammered most of these, though anybody that came to visit for a weekend down on the dock, we would all sit there hammering when you took a break from swimming. And after I made it, I started thinking, this is brilliant because we can teach people how to make things out of trash and teach them, A, to pick up the trash, and B, to make some money off something that doesn't cost anything. So that's when I started my little beer-to-leer enterprise. This house is so special. The stove even is the original from the 1940s. And my husband cleaned it up and it still works, even though it kind of scares me. But he trusts it. I usually leave the house when he turns it on. This is the area where everybody hangs out. You know, during hunting season, my son and all his buddies will come here and just pack this place. I have to say, my sister-in-law is an artist, and she is very proudly put our family motto above the fireplace, which is smart is smart, it's stupid. And usually whenever somebody in the family does something stupid, that's what they say. And then also when they do something smart, we all say smart is smart and stupid is stupid. But anyway, this is just a mix of furniture. After a trip to South Africa, I became very enamored with all these bead chairs and started thinking in my black and white, and here I just had to have it. And then this was a chair that I found at Fritz Porter in Charleston, and I just love it. The Playhouse has several rooms. This room is almost exactly like it was. The termites had eaten up so much of the back that we had to take a lot of boards off the walls in the back to replace things here. And so the back rooms are painted. But my favorite thing in here are the ducks. Look at the ducks on the wall. And you're not going to believe this, but as we were flipping through her old guest book, we found this one. And this is probably 11/27/42. This was Lou S. Viter from Newark, New Jersey. So it was probably Thanksgiving. It was too far for him to go home. And he says, "You put me in fine shape for the war effort. Thanks from the bottom of my belly." And we think that the guy that did these cartoons of the man with a bandage on his nose and the horse was probably the person who painted on the walls. And his name was Louis Ravielli. And I looked him up online, and evidently after the war, he was a cartoonist. So his says, "I honestly can say I never had so much fun breaking my nose on Honey's neck." And Honey was her horse. So it was really, this is such a special place, and I will do everything I can to preserve it. I just love it. When people walk inside our home, I want them to feel welcome. I want them to feel like, oh boy, this is going to be fun. And oh yeah, we keep a big basket of party hats in the corner. I mean, you know, if it starts raining outside, we can't play outside or be barbecuing or whatever, we then have a hat party. We start the blender up and just, you know, have fun. And we play games with kids with the hats. So we play dress up, and then if people have their kids here, we would make them do a show for us. And so we'd all set up with cocktails in hand and watch our children perform. With all a hat basket is highly recommended. Everyone should have one. When you walk in a home and it's not so perfect, which, you know, and it has a little patina and it looks like it's lived in, I feel like that is what makes you feel what makes you feel at home and feel like the people who live here don't just live in a structure, it's part of their life. And it's just I feel very lucky we got that. At age 29, I don't know how I got this lucky. I'm amazed that I could come up with this and still love it at 64. So I don't know. The problem is I haven't slowed down, and at 64, I still try to do everything I did at 29. So, and this house makes you have a little more energy probably than some places. Let me take you to the real treat is the Vardo, or a gypsy wagon, and I got a great story about that. But I also love these big live oak trees. My grandfather bought this property in the 1950s, and believe it or not, he planted these then. You know, it's this rich Delta soil. You would think these were 200 years old. But anyway, let me take you over there. And we hang out around the fire pit a lot, particularly in the fall. But I really can't wait to show you the gypsy wagon, because my husband says I travel so much, I'm really kind of a gypsy. Here, Birdie. Here, Birdie. I bought a book called shed chic a while back, and my husband loved it. And he had been looking at this old trailer base that was just out in the pecan orchard that was grown up with weeds. And he kept thinking, what can I do with that trailer? And so he got the idea to surprise me and make this gypsy wagon for me. And he did a great job. I mean, he had an architect draw it up so that it's got the little slanted walls. And here it is. We have lots of fun in here. Sometimes we come out here with a big bowl of popcorn and we can pull this out and make a bed, and we spend the night in here, and it's like, you feel like a kid at a slumber party. It is just a blast. And so we drink wine, we watch a movie, we eat popcorn, and then we snuggle up in the gypsy wagon. But it was so fun just finding things for it, and it's really a great place to have fun and come in and read books. This is the book Shed Chic that inspired my husband. And the funny story about the gypsy wagon is he kept leaving on Saturday morning saying he was going to go get some extra work done at his office. And I didn't pay any attention to it, and I just kept about my business. And he was doing this for a long time, and I never thought about it. And then one day I was cooking something and I ran out of the ingredient. And so I called him and I said, hey, I'm getting ready to run to the grocery store. Do you need anything? Because the grocery store is about 10 miles away. So he goes, no. He goes, I'll go get it while I'm in town. And I said, no, that's all right. I need it right now. And so I jumped in the car. I went in. Of course, I drove right by his office and didn't even notice his car wasn't there. And then got what I needed, drove back. And then he walked in the house that afternoon and he said, well, I guess you realized I really wasn't at the office today. And I felt my bottom lip going, and he goes, I've been lying to you. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, who is he having an affair with in this town of 700 people? And I was just like blown. I was really about to crumble. And then he goes, every Saturday morning, I've been working on a Vardo for you. And of course, the first thing I said was, what's a Vardo? But anyway, I couldn't believe it. And he brought me down to see it, and he said, I'm building it. And he had a carpenter friend helping him. And he goes, and you can decorate it. So it's just been fun to find things here and there. And I mean, this is some fun paper that I got years ago at Creative Co-op, and I didn't know what to do with it. And one day I went, I'm just going to staple it to the walls in here. Because my idea is I think I'll have this for a while, and then I'll get tired of it, and I'll change it to another wallpaper. But anyway, it was ingenious the way the carpenter figured out to just pick up the bottom and pull this out. And the two mattresses go down and it makes a queen bed. And I love the Sizani in here. It hides our little refrigerator and all the things under it. And the best thing and the worst thing about staying out here, we love listening to the birds in the morning when you're waking up, and it's just so magical. But all night long, the dogs hear all kinds of things, and they are howling and jumping up and everything, and we're letting them out and letting them back in. So that does kind of spoil a little of the magic, but it's a fun place. As I was telling you about this guy representing Uzbekistan, for instance, look at these little stitches around here, and this is why I think he makes the most magnificent Sizanis I've ever seen. This is called a flicker stitch. See how one stitch is white, the next one is black, and it makes them pop. After you see these with the flicker stitches, the other ones, while they're beautiful, they just don't have the depth that these do. This almost gives it a real raised feel and a liveliness to them. So these are my favorite kind to sell, the ones with the flicker stitch. I think I just love our home because it also is so interactive with nature, and it's so durable. We did concrete floors. I don't freak out when kids come running through in wet bathing suits. I mean, I think what I'm so proud of is I've managed to make a place that looks really good, but as you can see, dog friendly. It's very kid friendly. I guess what I've done is we've created a weekend house that we live in every day, and it's really been fun. I mean, we have a nice life. During warm months, which is about April to October, we go down on the dock, take a lake bath, wash our hair, put on my caftan and sit down there and have a cocktail with my husband and then come up and eat. It's really pretty nice. And on weekends, the house is full of people. We have company every weekend. And it's gotten to be we don't even ask anyone. People just call and say, okay, we're open this weekend and that weekend. Which one works for y'all? And we go, oh, okay. And so we're happy to have all this and to be able to share it with our friends and family. Welcome to the garden. See this good Delta soil? It grows things really well. This is so exciting, though. I've had such a wonderful variety of zinnias come back up. I'll usually come out here and pick zinnias just about every day, and because zinnias love to be cut, and you go down and cut just where the next one is coming up. But these are some of my favorites. Look at the different colors in this petal, and they blend so well with the other pinks. I love using these to put arrangements together. And then the reason I have so many zinnias is I go through, and when I find a bad one, I just clip it and throw it in. And so these reseed every year. You have to watch out. Sometimes I have to pull out the purple ones because the purple ones seem to be dominant, and if I don't watch out, they'll all be purple. So I did that this year. The first ones that bloomed purple, I pulled about 75% of them out, and now I got this mix of all these other colors. So, to me, the fun thing to do is go, okay, you plant there. I would like for you to go there, and let's do some of these. These seem to be so healthy. They almost look like dahlias. They're just fabulous. I love these colors. And I have a great vase I'm thinking of putting them in that a friend of mine made. Some of my favorite are these they're like zinnias with perms. If you notice, they're a little bit frizzy on the ends. And these are called cactus zinnias. When Sarah, my daughter, was little, she would always go, Mom, can we go cut some happy flowers? And then one time I came in with roses and she goes, but no, those aren't the happy flowers. Anyway, so zinnias actually remind me of my sweet Sarah. Look at that color in there. Just great. This is a good one too. More of those mixed colors. All righty, maybe just a few more and we'll have it. We'll add some little purplish ones. Purpley pinks. This is an area where we grow all our citrus trees, and last year at the Nashville Antique and Garden Show, I found this little greenhouse from Belgium. And so we've been so excited because now we have a great place to roll the trees in and save the citrus if it gets very cold. Last winter we had one day of 8 degrees, which we very rarely get single digits here. It usually gets down to freezing maybe once or twice in the winter, but most of the time we're almost tropical, but not quite. This is another little good patch of zinnias because I just threw any other seeds left over, and I'll have to show you my seeds after I do arrangements. And one thing about my landscaping I have learned, I was very excited after the Chelsea Garden Show that I went to a few years ago, and I decided I wanted this waddling everywhere in my gardens because it was everywhere in England. And once my friend Jeanette Whitson with Garden Variety Design told me where to get it, which I can't remember right now, but I was so excited, and I have figured out that the climate in Louisiana is not going to work for these. They really start deteriorating pretty quickly. But it's okay that I tend to like things with patina, so we'll just see how long they last. But I do recommend being in a drier climate. Oh, and these are the kale that made it through the freeze, and I have learned if you cut your kale from the bottom and keep doing that, you can end up with topiaried kale. It's looks like something from Dr. Seuss, but you know, I love anything weird. This is a vase that I just love. My friend Chip Sloan made, and it appears to be a Chinese vase, but these are actually the cypress trees from our lakes here in Louisiana. And I keep hoping he will make more, but he seems to be one of those artist types that's in and out of town all the time and changes and does different things, and I so love everything he does. But I think these are my favorite. This is going to be a very basil-y batch. In the winter we have more cilantro, but this is summertime salt. And we just let the salt dry out the leaves, and then the more we stir it, the more they break down. It's kind of fun. Well, in college, when I was an art major, my dad said, "What are you going to do after college?" And I told him I would like to go to New York and work for an interior designer and see if that's what I want to do. And then I would like to go to interior design school. And my dad said, "Honey, that's just for rich ladies to have fun. You're going to have to make a living." So I was really frustrated, but I thought, oh darn, okay. So I got out of college and basically had a few different jobs. But when I got married, and I had Sarah, who is now working with me, I was trying to figure out a way to work from home. So I started hand painting baby clothes. Long story short, I ended up splatter painting socks for Mervyn's, JCPenney's, and Dillard's. And socks were coming to our house in 18-wheelers. And so if you or your daughter had splatter painted socks in the 80s and early 90s, they came from here and they were painted right outside of this house. And that's actually when I made a nice amount of money, and so I decorated my house. And then many friends would come visit, and they would insist I come help them, and very quickly it turned into flying all over the country doing interior design for lots of people in New York and Nashville and Houston and all over the place. And then I realized I was about to lose my mind because it was too much for one person. And all my clients were, whenever I made a pillow for somebody, just a plain pillow cost a lot of money. And I kept thinking, gosh, for this amount of money, you should be able to get something really special. So originally, I made these pillows for my clients. Well, people love the pillows, and so more people wanted to hire me because of to get the pillows. And eventually, I had to give up the interior design. And it was difficult because, you end up loving your clients and then they become friends. But Katrina hit, and at the time, a lot of my work was in New Orleans. And so everything was dead. I mean, nobody cared about their houses. They were just trying to, get electricity, build back. They needed sheetrock. They didn't need pillows. And so it gave me a lot of time to just focus on the pillows and start reaching out to other designers and other stores, and the pillow business really took off. Why don't you come in the studio? This is where I work every day when I'm not on the road. And what we do in here is I find textiles. For instance, this came from a Turkish kaftan, and what we do is we cut out all of the little areas, and you have to be so careful not to cut the stitches in the back or the piece will come undone. This is also something called a Duval stitch. If you notice on the top, it's gold threads. And what they would do is they'd bring the gold threads over and then catch it on the back with a cotton thread because they were trying to save the valuable thread and they didn't want to waste any on the back. I've learned a lot from taking textiles apart. And this process or this stitch has taught my ladies how to sew them back onto a better velvet, a stronger fabric, and it's taught them how to hide their stitches. So it's every day is a learning experience. This is where I actually design, and I dig around and pull out something and I lay it out here. And normally you will see me like this because I keep a tape measure around my neck all the time, and half the time I run to town and I forget I have it around my neck. But I measure everything out, and then I have a design sheet where I draw the picture, and anyway, I'll draw it out, I'll make a description, I figure out the price. And the funny thing is, I actually started out as a math major in college because math just came easy to me. And I'm so glad because every day figuring out the cost of these pillows is it's like one big algebra problem. And I go, oh, thank you, math. You know, people always say, how are you going to ever use math? Well, it's important. But we have some beautiful pieces. I particularly love this one. Look at the sequin work on this. It is just amazing. And the good thing is it's in good shape. A lot of times the sequins are coming up. We will have to trim very closely as we put it down, and you try to tuck this under so that it doesn't show when we finish the pillow. This is just an amazing cape from probably the Ottoman Empire. You know, I think from Turkey, but it could be anywhere in that area. I just thought that was amazing, and I'm surprised an LSU fan hasn't bought it with the purple and gold. But the other thing that people don't realize, all my trims are antique. And so, for instance, when I go to use a piece, I only have this much. And I may go, this is the perfect patina. And then when I go to say, this isn't quite the perfect patina, but I'm just showing you how to do it. When I go to put this around, I'm like, okay, this is looking good. And then I get to that, and look, I need 2 more inches. And so I like kind of go, okay, let me go back to the drawing board and throw it over and find some more. But if you want to look in these drawers, I have quite a collection of these metallic tapes that in France are called galons. And we have the smaller sizes over here. And I'm always looking for these kind of pieces. When I first started out, I was so slow at designing because I didn't have so many trims. And one day in France, I found in a flea market a huge box. And I mean, there must have been $10,000 worth of these trims already taken off of things, because a lot of times we have to take them off pieces like this. So that's time consuming. But anyway, the guy was telling me how much they were by the centimeter, and I said, okay, will you start measuring, and I'll come back. I'll go have lunch. And I came back, and he said, well, I've only gotten about a quarter of the way through, and will you start picking out from these? And I said, okay. And he looked so mad that he was having to measure everything. So I said, okay, well, what about for the whole box, if I just buy the whole box? And he goes, how about 3,000? And I mean, that was when designing became a lot easier, because I had so many different patinas in that one box. And I tell you what, it weighed a fortune, because this is all metallic. I mean, these are heavy pieces, and I did pay a lot to have it shipped back. But that was a turning point in my business, because I ended up with so many different options. But I feel very fortunate that while I was doing interior design, that the businesses kind of overlap, because the interior design basically helped me buy so many of my textiles. So that gave me a nice inventory to start. And then, gosh, in 1996 or 7, I think, Neiman's bought for 22 of their stores. And so that's when I really got into the business very heavy. I had to go to France with bags and bags. And back then, I dragged them all home myself, which was not fun. My friends who were traveling with me would call me Pigpen, because I'd have these big rolling bags, and I would drop them, and dust would just flop out of them, and it was really kind of embarrassing. They didn't want to. I'd have to take a cab by myself, because they didn't want to be in the cab with the bags. So, but it was a lot of digging, learning, and fortunately, I was very curious. And I've been doing this so long that it's funny how I have found the same priest robe. I found the first one in France, I found the second one in Italy, and then I found the third one in Mexico. And they were both from the late 1800s, and I thought that must have been the most popular vestment during that time. I mean, it was just crazy to find the same thing in 3 different countries. Home means a place where you just want to go in and cocoon, and you just love it. And honestly, I love having land. I think the home is part of the landscape even. And if you have a home that opens up to the outdoors, you are happy in any season. In the winter, I love being in this big red room that's so warm and with the fireplace going. And in the spring, summer, and fall, the doors are always open to the screen porch, and we love hanging out there and cooking on the porch and eating dinner on the porch. So I just think home is where you're comfortable and you feel cozy and you feel love.
Thanks for watching. For more Homeworthy content, be sure to like and subscribe.